Well, I'm ready to go further in our seminar to understand ourselves, understand why in crisis we are doing ourselves harm. This is what I came to understand. When a human comes into a crisis, the crisis is usually something that happens outside of his body. It's not a crisis that you are hit with a car. It's not a crisis that you have no food to eat. It's a crisis because someone has passed away or has betrayed you, or there are different things that happen there in life, and then the result of it is a physical disease. And that is what we have to understand. How can things that are pure spiritual make a physical disease? How is that impact of thoughts towards the body? And I tried last night to show that all of us have a life cord, so to say, where our life is bound on. And it proves that we have a life cord even though that life cord is not visible. It proves that we have one, and according to where it is bound, you are in danger in the moment your cord is bound on that person. And I explained last night that the power of life is love. That's why our crises are around our relationships. The crisis is, yes, your house might blow and burn, but that's not something that will bring such a great issue in one's life necessarily. But if that person that you love and you are not knowing that you're bound to him does something wrong, or it happens to him something wrong, you are getting into trouble because you are making yourself sick by it. So, love is the power of life for the body. That's why the crises that we face that really make us sick are around our loved ones. That's why the most situations are in the family. The most difficulties, the most diseases that come, it is just interrupted. You just put new battery. Oh. Just got up. Yeah, we'll go without it. You hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. For recording system. I think it's okay.
Actually, try these. These are probably
I want to try it tomorrow. Let's see how long. See, that's the same as in life. When your battery is gone, then you are in a crisis. So, like for the microphone, I explained this last time, like for the microphone, the power, so is life or love, the power of our body. So, I shared with you last night the story of this young lady that with 23 years was taken off her colon because of a disease that makes ulcers in her colon. And the only way to save her life was to take out the colon. If not, she would have probably passed away. The question is why? I didn't tell you the story, but the story is a simple one. It comes because in her family something is not working well, and she is not satisfied with the way mom is. As a teenager, she started to fix her mom. Ever tried that? So many children want to fix their mom, but it doesn't work. So she is so eagerly to do that that she makes herself sick because she wants to force her mom to be different, to take care of herself, and she wants to help. The intention that she has is good, but the acting that she does is against her. So our relationships, there where we live out, the most important relationships are in the family, the parents, the siblings, our closest relative. Just recently had a patient who is 67, and he got a tumor on his right tonsil. And he knows my presentations, and he said, but I have no issues in my life. I have no crisis. I don't know how to handle it. And I said, look, by the law that we exist, there is no such thing to get a tumor without a crisis. That's totally impossible. It's not possible. It's the only thing that can make that tumor is your spirit, is your mind. That tumor on the right side on your tonsil cannot come by chance. It is directed by what you think. This is where it becomes very hard for us to understand that the thought is the most important thing. That's why when you have something going on in your relationship, you get sick. You can be a hard worker, you don't get sick. You can work from morning to night, you don't get sick because that's physiological. You have to move yourself. But if you have a burdened heart, if there is something there that you cannot handle, you will destroy yourself by a deception, not knowing how to deal with the crisis. And so I made an appointment with him, and I prayed that I should find the cause. And we found it, I think, in less than half an hour. Because if you know the principles of life, you know where to search. And he, as a right-handed man, he had his tumor as a result that there was an interruption, a breaking of the connection with his oldest daughter that he had from his first marriage. That was broken in 98. Now we have 2015. So how many years is it? 17 years. And the idea, the main thoughts that were there is guilt thoughts. They were not big so that he could really see them, but he had guilt thoughts because he thought he could have done more for his girl. And it was in a state that he didn't even know where she now lives. So that's a burden. We might push it away. We might think as fathers, yes, but it comes up again and again. And you push it away. You're not aware that one day if you don't fix it according to the body, according to what the body expects, then it will destroy you. So it's so important for us that we understand ourselves and this relationship between the spirit and the body, to understand where is our life put bound on. Because it is always because of our spiritual needs. You see, our life, yes, it is dependent on physical items, but that is not the issue we fight for. There is no fight for food in reality, because it's plenty there. But we have a fight for love, have we? That's our biggest desire. We have the fight for righteousness. I just had this last week a person that, I don't know her age, but no, he's 70 something, 72, and he had depression almost his whole life, and he came to me, and of course we talked, and I took his history, and in his history he had a fight because he said, my mom was not righteous to me. She beat me up. They were not treating me correctly. But he was now 72. Shouldn't you have solved your child issues with 72? Shouldn't you go over that? And no one teaches you how to do that. You're just remaining in that same state where you don't know how to handle the unrighteous act of your parents. And so is between the seats. He remembers how unrighteous his mother and his father treated him. He was a businessman. He left the business of his father. But the whole life he was a sick person. And now he came to me and he said, okay, we might be able to fix this. And I'm so excited. I hope with 72 he will get rid of his depression, because he gets rid of his conflict for his life, for his need of righteousness. You see, does he do that by purpose? No. It is just he does not know how to satisfy his needs. Our fights, there would never be a fight between two human people if we would be satisfied in our spiritual needs. We would never argue with someone. We would be just free individuals that relate to each other with love and respect without demanding how much from the other one? Nothing. I know you don't agree with me like that, but that's what the law of life is all about. We have our crisis go around spiritual things. It's not about physical things. So how does it come that we destroy ourselves in the crisis? When things go wrong, are we doing mistakes in our life? Do we? Yes. And he regretted that he took that woman and he had a child with her, and then they divorced, and now he had no access to raise his child. And now he feels guilt of that. Shouldn't that be solved long ago? Why is it not solved? Why is it on the heart? Why is it so? So thank God for the body, because the body is the one that helps us to fix our mind problem. It shows us where the deception is, because the deception is subtle. We We are born with this deception. It's not our guilt. We have no fault that we have the deception in us, because we are born like that. Have you any guilt that you're blonde or white or dark? Anything of that? No? Can you choose how you are born? No. We are just the result of inheritance from our parents. And so they pass on their height, their beauty, or less beauty, whatever they pass on. But we also have passed on an error in our mind. This is why in a crisis, each one of us, not by purpose, but by unknowledge and by self-deception, destroys himself, thinking at the same time he's right. And I cannot prove to you that you're wrong except on your disease. Because disease helps you to see that you're your own doing it to yourself. And so the good thing is that I can see on my body where my mind deceives itself. And we have to deal with this deception, because we are not guilty that we have inherited it. But when we have a chance to get rid of it, and we keep it, then we are becoming responsible and guilty. So, the way we were born doesn't matter. It's just that we might understand the deception and be willing to solve it. That's all of it. You see, we very often speak about salvation. How would you say, what is salvation? As a definition of salvation is saving us from self-destruction that comes from self-deception. Should it be something that burns in our hearts that we as Christians should go out and help people to not destroy themselves anymore? Should be. But have we understood it? How to not destroy ourselves? You see, very often you hear the talk about the free will. Have you heard of it? Yes? Now tell me, if you have a free will, why do you need a Savior? If you have a free will, you don't need a Savior. If you see the things correctly, would you need a Savior? He just came to open the blind eyes. He came to make the captives free. Are you one of them? Or do you think you're free? See, the Jews in Jesus' time, when Jesus said, if you stay in the truth, if you stay in my words, you will understand the truth, and the truth will make you free. And how was the reaction of those Jews? Is that we have free will. We were never in bondage. Now, if you're never in bondage, you don't need a Savior. If you're not blind to your own self, if you don't know how the things work, you don't need a Savior. You just go on. Choose the right and go. But I came to understand in my practice that the gospel and the Bible is correct. That we are all in bondage. And the bondage is proven in the moment of crisis. Because then, in the crisis, you hit yourself instead of not hitting yourself. And so, we are destroying ourselves step by step. You see, it took 17 years to develop the tumor. And usually, it does so long. Not in every case. And when you have a tumor, you must have a broken heart for a long time. But that brokenness does not necessarily appear to you as something that will destroy you. It might not take you out of your unrest. But I'm so looking forward to see this gentleman fixing his problem and getting healed from his tumor. I just had last weekend, I was in a place in Germany, and it was close to the border to Austria, and I saw a lady from Austria in July or August. She's a 23-year-old girl, and she had a tumor in her right hypophysis. You know that? Hypophysis? How do you call this in English? It's the small gland in your brain. No, the hypothalamus is in the brain, but it's on the brain. It's below. It's just. What is it in English? What? Not the hippocampus. Hypophysis. That's, yeah, whatever. Yeah, I have to get it out. So you have to understand. That is our cortex, and here we have the limbic system. There is those things that you said, the hippocampus, hypothalamus, and there is a gland here. And we have, like everything, two things. And on the right side, this is the right side of the brain. That's the left side. And she had here a tumor about 4 to 5 millimeters. I mean, the gland is small. And it conducts all the hormone systems in your body. And this tumor she had for 6 years. And it produced prolactin. Prolactin is something in English, yeah? Prolactin, yeah. So, and it produced prolactin, and so it changed the whole hormone system. And they found out the tumor because she had no period bleeding anymore for 7 months. And now, of course, you ask the doctor, why does she have that tumor there that produces prolactin and produces too much and brings the whole system, yeah, go wrong? What would any doctor say? No idea. No idea. But if you know the structure, you know that every single organ that we have in our body is directed by the nervous system. And the human being starts here. Here is the whole is it the cortex. All nerves start from your cortex. And it's clear that this tumor must come out as the result of a command. It cannot happen by chance, can it? Never anything happens in your body by chance, and on the cortex, who is guiding the nerves? Your spirit, yes? So your spirit is guiding, and only the spirit has access to your cortex. So he either makes the wrong thing here, or he makes the wrong thing here. So obviously the spirit is correct here, but it's wrong here. So he puts in something there that makes that tumor. And that brings all the system to work well or not well? Not well. She's like she's pregnant all the time. So now, if you know that that cannot happen by chance, and if you know that all nerves are the slaves of your mind, where do you search for the problem? In the mind, in your spirit, you search for the problem. And there you find it. It was an amazing history. Her sister got married. And she was getting married to a gentleman that somehow they didn't feel is the right one. And so her sister was suffering. And she was suffering together with her. Is anything wrong to suffer with your sister? But what was wrong that made the tumor? Yes, she wanted to change her husband. I mean the sister's husband. And when you want to change someone, are you a loving person or less loving person? How do you behave? So she had the burden. She saw her sister suffering, and she was sympathizing with her, which is very well. But there was something in her action, the deception of her mind, that made that tumor. And just on the airport, before I flew out, her husband, the husband of the lady she just got married a few months ago, weeks ago, her husband called me and said, we did the MRI and the tumor is gone. How did it happen? Because I spoke twice with her. They came extra from another country to my practice, and I shared with them, I showed her the problem, what is the issue of that tumor, and where is the mistake of our mind. And it is a big encouragement for me that even with 23 years old, you're able to solve your problem. And get rid even of a tumor that produces prolactin. So the system is under the control of your spirit, of your mind. And if he plays well the piano, then you are going to have a healthy body. In the most cases, so it must be so, because that's the law. Now, you see, what I came to observe, it is always a mixture between good and evil that makes us sick. That is, should we have sympathy with those who suffer? Should we? Yes, we should. So that's nothing wrong. That's how we were made. That's a need of the spirit to have sympathy, to want to help others. But somehow, in the way we do it, we are wrong. And this is the problem. And we don't see it because we see the good intention, we see the sympathy, but we don't see where the problem is, that we deceive ourselves in the way we act on it. It's our action who makes us sick, not the intention. So here we need to understand this deep deception, because it is not obvious, but it is in the body. You see it. And I could show this young lady the issue of her life, and I'm so glad, because she's a Christian. She changed that, obviously, after 6 years, after taking 3 pills each day to balance that system. She now came to a peace. She solved her crisis, and she solved her body issue. I think those are nice stories. They encourage me that it works, but I cannot do it for anyone. I can just share the principle, I can just share the things so that we understand. And then we are on our own to put it into practice. But since it's a law, we could fix our problem if we are willing to do it. But thank God, the body helps us. If you would have a malignant tumor, wouldn't you change anything? What do people do usually when they get a tumor? They change their food, they put everything into action, and what happens? If they don't change their mind, they might prolong a little bit their life, but they don't change what is really the cause. And you will see it's not so easy to do that. That's why you need a Savior. If it would be easy, no one needs a Savior. God needed not to come down from heaven to say, I have to become man to solve man's problems. If it would be an easy thing to be saved. If it would be an easy thing just to see the deception. So, one of the things that the Bible warns again and again is self-deception. So where lies the self-deception of the Spirit? So that when he comes into a crisis, he destroys his own body and he gets a difficult life after the crisis. So, last time I shared with you that there is a place where the spirit and the body meets. And I shared with you that when the spirit takes decisions, that makes the body function directly, gives him the power to work. And that place where the spirit makes his decisions, we call the heart or the subconscious. And in that place, we have only two things we need to evaluate. It is everything that is green is the body. Everything that is red is spiritual. Okay? So this is the body where the spirit puts his input, puts his information so that he can rule him. He must meet somewhere. And they meet in the center of the cortex. I explained that to you last time, I think so. And here is the spirit, it is me, or I. And the spirit has only two things. When he evaluates something that comes to him, he has only two values he puts the information in. It's either in the loss or in gain. So whenever you come in your consciousness here, some information comes to you, whatever, what shall we say? There comes an information, you hear something. What shall we say? We said last night that story where the lady got happy because she heard that her grandchildren come to visit her. Yes? You hear information. I should write it. Correct? Because hearing is spiritual. You hear information and now you have to evaluate that information. And you have only two places to put it. Into gain or into loss. That evaluation goes subconsciously in 4.5 milliseconds, so you're not aware of it. But you still do it. So she puts the hearing of the information that her grandchildren come to visit where that she gets joy. You put into a game, and immediately in her body, endorphins are released. The electricity that goes into is just empowering the whole system because it's game. But I also know grandmothers that when they hear the grandchildren come to visit, they put it into loss. Oh, they come again. And then what happens in your nervous system? Yes? How do you feel? Good? Now immediately your body shows you that your spirit is in a position of protecting himself. They come. So we can put the things only in these two areas. But after we put them there, we have only one choice. It is for the game we have a yes. Oh, they come. Yes. And your body gets power. And then you hear, oh, they come. Oh, no. And then what gets your body? No power. Because you know why? Can you stop them to come? No. That's why you get in trouble. Yeah, you can lock the door, but they still come. So you cannot run away. So when God created us, He created the spirit that He should govern Himself. And He could just create the spirit that He should govern Himself by giving him a law by which to govern it. And He had to understand, you have to govern yourself. You must go towards the gain. That's not a choice. Anyone here wants to get rich? Yes, all want to get rich. We all must be rich. Everything we do for gain. Have you come here for loss? You would never have come. That's not possible. You say no to loss. You say yes to gain. That's why you go anywhere. All decisions that you take are just here in this place. So God gave us a law that He could say, if you go this way, you will have gain. If you go that way, you will have loss. But He created us so that we should have no direction towards the loss. So just to go towards the gain. No one of us can do consciously loss to himself. So when we hear an information, we have to judge that information, to evaluate it. And after the evaluation, immediately we have the decision. If you put it into gain, it's yes. If you put it into loss, it's no. And after you have done your yes or your no, everything is done. It's gone. It's into your body. Until here, after the evaluation, nothing can change anymore. So God gave us the yes and the no to govern ourselves, and He showed us what would be a loss and what would be a gain. You still remember? It was very easy. When Adam and Eve, they got how many things to discern for a loss and a gain? One. If you do not eat from that tree, you will have gain. If you eat from that tree, you will have loss. But you have here plenty of trees. It's only one you should not eat from. And here you will have loss if you eat. Now tell me, could the tempter ever come to Eve, or Eve to Adam, tell him, look, eat from this that you lose? Would he ever have succeeded? No. So the only way to tempt Eve to do the wrong, what was it?
See.
To switch the gain and the loss. To say gain is to eat, and not to eat is loss. Showing them that they are in continual loss because they don't eat. They lack wisdom. Do you like wisdom? Any one of you? Do we all want wisdom?
Yes.
Is that a need? Absolutely. It's the highest need, you could say. As Solomon says, that gold and silver and pearls cannot buy it. So the serpent doesn't come to Eve and say, oh, Eve, please, please, eat this fruit that you might die. Would Eve ever have listened?
No.
No. He had to tempt her for the gain, because he knew she would say yes to eat only if it is a gain. And then Adam had to believe Eve that it is a gain to eat from the fruit. So, you see, the only choice that a human being has is what choice? Have you understood the lesson?
Gain.
Yeah, okay, but what's the only choice up here in your evaluation that you have? Yes, but you need to have a law to know what is gain and what is loss. Yes?
Yes.
So, what was Eve's issue and Adam's? Why did they eat? Why were they deceived?
Because they listen.
Pardon?
They listen.
Well, to listen is fine.
They believe.
What was it? They trusted whom? They trusted the lie to be a truth. And they mistrusted the truth to be a lie. So how many choices do we have?
Two.
Everything in your life matters. Only whom do you trust? For a gain and for a loss. There is only the truth and the lie. And you have only to choose between them. But now, the lie is how disguised? Like the truth. How can you discern that you be sure you're not deceived? So there is the lie and there is the truth. Now we look into our subconscious. We look to that which is spiritual. You might remember from last time, there is two eyes that we need, or there are two ways of seeing things. The evil eye, did I show this? Yes, with the evil eye, and with the good eye. So what's the difference between the evil eye and the good eye? The difference is in a small matter. Let's see. You might still remember, what is gain? How do you get to gain? By receiving or by giving? Giving. So what's the truth? Giving. Yes? And what's the opposite of receiving is not receiving, or receiving to less. Or something is taken away from me. Something is taken away. So, what is the opposite of giving? Not giving. Or keeping. So, in which case do you have control over yourself, and in which case you have no control over yourself? You neither have a yes or no. Which I takes away your control? Where can you avoid loss 100%, and where can you not avoid it? Have I lost you?
And you're in control.
I mean, here on this side, you are the one that says yes and no. Because here, you can manage yourself because it's your action, giving and not giving. On this side, whose action is receiving? Someone else must give something to you so that you say, ah, I take it, that's a gain. And what can you do if you don't receive? Nothing. So, here, you have no choice to control your life. Here, you have it. So tell me, just to make a small test, can anyone make you harm? I mean, can anyone bring you into loss? Pardon?
You can if they make their own choices.
No, can anyone bring you into loss?
Can't make you, no.
So how many believe that the only person that make themselves lost are they themselves? So 2 persons we have. Have you ever blamed someone for what it happened in your life? Have you ever argued? Have you ever tried to fix others? Yes, you have. And I have too.
So you can fix me.
Too many years. Too many years. But you see, the deception in our life is so deep. We are all born with the evil eye. And we don't see it is wrong. I want to ask you a question. Do you need that someone should embrace you?
Yes.
Is that a need that you have?
Yes.
Do you think you're believing the truth or the lie by saying, I need someone to embrace me? Boys,
It's a lie.
so you don't need someone to embrace you.
The next group here.
I think when you embrace someone, it's for you want to be accepted.
No, we don't speak about embracing someone. We speak about expecting someone to embrace us. Is that expectation correct?
No.
Does it come out from the evil eye or the good eye?
Evil.
So the evil eye says, you need to hug me. That I should be well. Do you need the hugs of others? don't need them. But you see how difficult it is to think that you don't need them. You remember from last time, the main error in our mind is that we think we need the love of others. Do we need the love of others?
No.
No. Even the love of God cannot help you. See how many people God loves today on earth? And how many are healthy? So is God the problem? So where is the problem?
Us.
So you see, we need to understand it's only our action that can either bring us into gain and keep us healthy, or our action that can destroy us and bring us into loss. Of course, we can be killed by another person, by a car accident, or by any, event of a catastrophe, earthquake or something. But that's not the issue here. We don't speak about people hurting us physically. We speak about people hurting us spiritually, because we expect from them that they should love us. Is it not so that the wife deserves the love of her husband?
You deserve it.
Someone paid attention to my words.
Yes.
Is it not so that the husband thinks he deserves the love of his wife? Do the parents deserve the love of their children? Do they? Yes. So, you see, we are totally messed up in the way we perceive the things. We are not seeing where we have control and where we have not. And where does the idea come that you deserve anything? You see, deserving is receiving. So, in one place, you have control. In the other, you neither have a yes nor a no. The circumstances play you around. Of course, you exercise your no when your grandchildren come and you don't like it. But how much can it help you? You cannot stop it. Of course, you would like to stop your spouse to betray you. Can you? No? Why not? But you still say no. You still try it. You still push it. But how much success do you have? Zero, but you destroy yourself. So, we have a deep deception ourselves that messes up all our relationships. And it messes it up on love level. If I tell a person that he deserves nothing, he might be able to kill me. That's why we need to understand what is deserving. Why do we think we deserve anything? Why we never deserve anything? So I say, no, it is because we have deep in ourselves a view about ourselves, who we are. And last year I didn't share this because it was not so clear to me, but now it's clear. The main bottom of every deception is, what do you think who you are? If you know who you are, no deception anymore. If you don't know who you are, or if you think you are something that you're not, you're deceived. Now let us see what the human spirit thinks he is. We saw that the motivation of the evil eye is pride and selfishness, yes? So we saw that selfishness is the idea I have in the way I possess something. And pride is the idea I can in the way I can produce something. And because I think I have and I can, my first action is giving. But I give to receive or to take. So there are only two things in our subconscious, only two actions that we take. It's taking and giving. That's how we get to be rich or poor. It's only two actions, giving and taking, that rules everything. And here on this side, you give to take. So a mom, whose love does she give to the child? Her love. So is the mom the producer of love? Pardon?
For the
Yes.
child, yeah.
So you see, the thing that in us is, when we love, we think love is the production of our own spirit. We are not aware that our spirit is like the stomach. How much food can the stomach produce? None. But what is he doing with the food? He processes it. He takes it to give it. He takes it to give it. So your spirit, what is it in comparison with the stomach? Is he a producer of love? Or just a user of love? Pardon? No, is he a user of love? Or a producer of love? He is just a user of love. But he thinks he is the producer of love. I can. Who is the producer of love? God. And if man thinks he's the producer of love, who does he think he is? He thinks he's God. That's where our root comes out. What did Eve promise? What did the serpent promise to Eve would happen if they eat? They will think they will become like God. Is that the truth?
No.
I am God is the most deceptive things, and it is in every human being. You believe it? I have people that tell me, I never think that. Do you really? I promise you, you not only think, you're convinced you are. Because your action, prove it. How can you prove something? By an idea or by action? Only by action. By the action of every human being, you will prove that he thinks and is convinced is God. And that's why he gets sick. Because he acts on the one side like God, giving, and on the other side, he is a poor, beggar for love. So, we will talk more about this deception because that's our next hour, where we have to figure it out. Because I tell you, it's not an easy thing to see that you're self-deceived. But all self-deception comes from your wrong idea about yourself. But since it's subconscious, you're not aware of it. But your action might convince you that you are acting like that. So I stop here to have a break, and we'll continue in the next one.